Imagine a girl who can predict accidents that are yet to happen, unbeknownst to the people around her, but the secrets are discovered at a later period when it's too late. Lucinda, a little girl who is standing in the school playground, is looking directly at the sun, while she can also hear some unnatural whispers in the background. Her teacher calls out for her as all the children are asked to move inside the school, but she's still out. The scene changes to the classroom. Miss Taylor, the class teacher, announces that Principal Clark, who organized a competition to choose the best idea for celebrating the opening ceremony, has selected the winner of this competition, and it's Lucinda. Her idea of burying a time capsule won. She then unboxes a time capsule in front of the kids and asks them to draw what they think the future is going to look like. 50 years later, a group of children similar to them will open the capsule to see what they drew. All the children create visual works except for Lucinda Embry. Guided by whispering voices, Lucinda fills her paper with a series of numbers. Before she can write the final numbers, the allotted time for the task expires, and the teacher collects the students' drawings. The following day, Principal Clark inaugurates the school and buries the capsule in the ground. As Miss Taylor looks over the joyful children, her eyes stumble over Lucinda, who is standing alone in the corner and looks troubled. The capsule pothole is covered with a heavy lid, and the teacher looks at Lucinda again to find that she is not there anymore. It's evening, and they are still searching for Lucinda. The teacher finds her in a closet, scared, and fingertips covered in blood as she engraved the remaining numbers on the closet door. 50 years later, John, a widowed astrophysics professor, tells his son Caleb that within the Milky Way galaxy, there are 4 million stars like the sun that could possibly support life on the planets revolving around them. Caleb then goes inside the house to watch TV. It's around midnight. His father comes into his room and tells him to sleep, or else he won't be able to concentrate in class the next day, to which Caleb replies that it's the 50th anniversary of their school tomorrow and there is no class. The next day at the institute, John discusses with children the concept of determinism versus randomness. Determinism being everything that has happened, from the sun being on fire to Earth being at an equal distance to support life, has a meaning and purpose versus randomness, which says everything is a coincidence, only a reaction and composition of chemical accidents and biological mutations, and nothing that happens has any purpose or meaning. Phil, John's colleague, tries to set up a date for John, and he suddenly remembers that he has to go to Caleb's school ceremony and makes a run for it. He reached the school just in time to listen to the boring song his son was singing along with other children. Miss Taylor, who now have one leg in the grave, cuts the ribbon, and the time capsule is taken out of the pit. The drawings are then shared with every kid. As Caleb is about to receive Lucinda's number sheets, he starts to hear the same whispering through his earpiece. He then opens the envelope to find numbers written on both sides of a page. He then saw a mysterious man looking at him from the woods, and the next second, he was gone. Caleb brought the paper to his home, and his father saw it, saying that it's school property and he should not have done that. Caleb says that it might have some meaning to it and that he will return it tomorrow. During midnight, John was making arrangements for a regretful hangover and didn't realize that his glass was full and started to drip. He went to the kitchen and accidentally placed the glass over Lucinda's paper. As he was cleaning the paper with tissue, he saw something and curiously tried dividing the numbers into dates and found the date 9/11/01, the same date when the airplane collided with the Twin Towers. He searched for it on his computer to find out that the number written next to the date is the number of casualties that happened in the accident, and he was shocked at this revelation. He then started looking for other dates from the list and saw catastrophic accidents occurred during the last 50 years. He marked all the dates with a red marker and casualties with blue. He then saw something on the board that shocked him to his core. The next day, he shared the same thing with his colleague Phil and told him that he matched every accident in sequence that has happened within the last 50 years, except for the last 3. Those are yet to happen. There will be an accident tomorrow causing 81 people to lose their lives. He then shows an accident report to Phil. This is the same accident where John's wife Allison died. Phil says that someone's playing a joke on him, but John claims that he saw the janitors dig up the time capsule. Phil thinks that his wife's death has made his judgment blurry. John gets offended and leaves. John then visits old Miss Taylor to know the whereabouts of Lucinda, who wrote the list, but unfortunately Miss Taylor tells him that she's long dead because of an overdose. He asks Miss Taylor if the list was actually written by her, which she confirms, and then told him about the opening ceremony day where she went missing, and they found her in the closet where she scratched the numbers that she could not write on the the paper. When he gets home, he saw his son Caleb talking to a weird man in a car. The weird man gave Caleb a black stone. By the time John ran outside to confront the men in the car, they were gone. In the evening, John is watching news channels to check if there was any new disaster, and he fell asleep while doing so. He wakes up the next day with a phone call from his son, who is in school, and it's raining. Caleb reminded his father that it's his turn today for the carpool. John is on his way, stuck in traffic, and he decides to call his friend Phil to apologize for the other day. As he was recording his voicemail, he saw the coordinates on the GPS and realized that the other numbers on the list probably meant the location. When he checks the list, he sees that the next accident is due to occur at the same location where he is right now. He freaks out and rushes out of the car to check why there is a traffic jam. He talks to the officials, and they tell him that it's nothing major and that there are no casualties. At the same time, we see an airplane losing its control and crashing nearby. John rushes to the accident's location to help the remaining survivors, and we see some other people burning and getting blasted in an explosion. He is devastated by the scenery. When he gets back home, his sister is there waiting for him. The news announces that an estimate of 81 people died in this accident. Listening to it, John's doubts are gone that indeed the list predicts disasters and accidents. His friend from university visits him, and he is also convinced that the list is real. John tells him that he was there when the accident happened. Phil says that it has a purpose, the digging of the list and it reaching John so that he could find its meaning. Meanwhile, outside the house, there's a man standing, looking directly at Caleb's room window. Suddenly, he is inside Caleb's room. He points Caleb to look at the window. When he looks outside, everything is burning, the trees and animals. Caleb is scared and screams. John rushes to his room and tells him it was only a dream, but then he sees the same guy from the window. He goes outside with a baseball bat, but no one is there. The next day, after doing some research, he got to know that Lucinda had a daughter, Diana. He follows her to the museum and tries to befriend her. He then reveals to Diana that he followed her because he wanted to ask questions related to her mother. He told everything he knew while also making sure that she feels unsafe with him. He told her that her mother, Lucinda, also mentioned her bathing timings in the list, after which she says,
"Stay away from me and my daughter."
He told her that a lot of people will die tomorrow and he needs her help. She replied, "I can't help you," and leaves. John gets home and looks at the latitude and longitude from the next prediction. He then makes a call to the FBI, informing them about the situation and asking them to seal the location. The next day, John also went to the same location. He went in the subway. In John's mind, he assumed the next accident as a terrorist attack and was looking for suspicious people, and that's when his eyes stumbled across one. The guy knew he was in trouble and started running. John followed him. The suspicious person boarded a train, and so did John. Meanwhile, police were also looking for suspicious activity after John's call and started following them. The suspicious guy reached the end of the train and turned out to be a DVD thief. Then, some fluctuations happened in the train, causing a glitch on the tracks and changing the course for the train coming from the front. The train collided with John's train, and a lot of people were crushed under it. John got out safely and takes a sexy bath. Diana is waiting for John in front of his house. She realized what John said the other day was true. They both went to her mother's house in the middle of the jungle to collect more evidence. Diana told John that the last two digits are not numbers, but alphabetical letters as her mother used to write E that way. They went inside and found pictures of different accidents that he had predicted. Among these pictures, John points out a biblical picture with angels and stuff. Diana says she used to stare at it for hours. They went to the room where she died and found the same black stone that the men in black gave to Caleb. John thinks something is written under the bed, and as he lays the bed straight, he found out that EE are not initials, but everyone else, which means the next catastrophe will claim every life on the planet. Meanwhile, Caleb and Abby, who were sleeping inside the car, are now awake after they started hearing the whispers. Men in black come next to the car's window and ask Caleb to come with them. Abby opens the car's door and Caleb honks the horn, alerting John and Diana. John chases one of the men and ends up reaching him. He asks the men in black, "What do you want from my son?" The man turns around, opens his toothless mouth, and flash bangs John with light. When John gets his sight back, the man is already gone. The next day, John sees Abby drawing on the biblical picture. She shows the picture to John and says, "It's the sun." John realizes something and takes everyone to the MIT observatory building where his friend works. Phil follows John as he is eager to check something. John tells him that the paper he wrote on solar flare a few years ago had mistakes, and that the upcoming solar flare will destroy the ozone layer, killing every single organism on the planet. As Diana and Abby prepare to take refuge in nearby caves, John goes to the school and finds the door on which Lucinda engraved the final numbers. He identifies them as coordinates of a place where he believes they may find salvation from the solar flare. The skeptical and hysterical Diana loads Caleb and Abby into her car and flees for the caves. At a gas station, the whispering beings steal Diana's car with Caleb and Abby inside. Diana pursues them at high speed in a stolen SUV, but is killed in a collision with a semi-truck on the date her mother predicted. The beings take Caleb and Abby to Lucinda's mobile home, where John encounters them shortly thereafter. He asks the man where his son is and what do they want. Caleb then shows himself holding a rabbit and claims that everything is all right. They are only here to protect them. They are the ones who gave predictions so that humans can get ready for this day. John asks them, "Who are you?" A powerful wind blows, and when John looks at its source, he is flabbergasted to see an interstellar arc. As John and Caleb prepare to board the ship, the man stands in John's way. The man communicates with Caleb and tells him that only those who could hear the whispers can come, and that he has the choice of whether he wants to come or stay with his father. John, with a heavy stone on his heart, says goodbye to his son, saying that this is not the end and that they will meet again. As Caleb is about to board, the men in black are revealed as extraterrestrial beings who sort of look like angels. The ark gets ready to leave Earth, and as it ascends into the sky, it seems like there were other children from different places around the world who were rescued, and they all left Earth. John cries his heart out as it was the last time he saw his son and knows the inevitable that's coming tomorrow. The following morning, John decides to be with his family. As they were having their moment, the solar flare strikes the Earth, burning everything away. The buildings are turned to ashes, the oceans are evaporated. Life on Earth goes extinct. The interstellar arc transports the children to a new planet that looks similar to Earth and has a glowing tree. The scene looks similar to how life on Earth might have started according to the Bible.
Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers by hitting on that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.